How we doing, gents? We're back with another one. You see, the last one I did, it was a little bit windy, so you couldn't really hear what was going on. So I went out, got myself this little mic here. So we're gonna hope that that's gonna clear the audio up a little bit more. And that goes back to what we originally said about that professionalism. This is something I want to do, and it's something I want to do properly. So as soon as I saw that video, I'll be honest, it pissed me off a little bit because I knew there was some good stuff said in that, but the noise and the wind, it really fucked it all up, which pissed me off. So we've gone out, we've adapted. Now I've got this little DJI Level 6 audio, so we're going to see how that plays out today. This is welcome to my Sunday routine. So spoke a little bit about, in this video, we're going to be speaking about how routine is the foundation of everything. You will not rise to the level of your ambition, you will fall to the strength of your systems. Doesn't matter what big goals you set yourself, if you don't have systems in play to allow you to push and attain that, something that you can fall back on that gets done no matter what, then in the end it won't get done. Because simply life gets in the way, people get busy, and your priorities get shifted. But if you have a system in place, a routine that you know gets done every single day, week on week, that pushes you towards your end goal, then that's how you get there. You don't get there by purely relying on motivation and wishing this outcome to come to play. You need plans, you need structures. That's how things get done. Now, let me give you a little bit of an example, something that I've used, which is almost an exact replica of where your life's going to end up. It's the blueprint, it's the map to see where your life is, the track you're currently on. And it's putting all my habits, my daily actions into a calendar. Now you do this over the 7 days of the week. Little things: wake up, make breakfast, drive to work, journal, task list, everything down to a T. Put the time you do it, the length of time you do it, Monday to Sunday. Now when you put these entries into the calendar, what you'll find is you're going to get the perfect understanding of the type of person you currently are and who you're going to become. Easy example, the YouTube. Let's say you want to have a presence. You want to be someone who speaks to the camera. You want to build an audience. You want to build trust with your audience. How does your weekly calendar reflect that? How many hours a day is going towards something like this? The pursuit that you've said, yes, that's something I want to go after. And what you'll find, you'll see who you actually are, and if your actions are reflecting your dream outcome. And that's something you'll be faced with. And for me, the first time I ever did it, I was like, fuck, like the places I want to get to, the person I want to become is not reflected in this calendar. The person in this calendar doesn't end up driving the nice cars. He's not traveling the world, because I'm still going to be in that same system. So then what you can do to rewire that is now go, all right, who do I want to become? Where do I want to be living? What do I want to be doing? And figure out what that person does on a daily basis. Stick that in your calendar. I don't care where you put it in. For me, it's always going to be the afternoon is when I get my work done. Stuff like this, because in the morning, I wake up at 4:55, I shower, I hit the gym, train for hour and a half, 2 hours, get home for 7, do some meal prep, head to work, come home from work, and now I've got the afternoon to just devote my time to my future self and building that future and that dream outcome. But it becomes very apparent, and I challenge all of you to do this, is to lay your life out in the calendar and see if you're becoming the person you want to become. And you may be faced with that initial realization that, shit, this person doesn't reflect who I want to be 5-10 years from now. And that's going to prompt you to make that change. So that's a good little hack to put that into play. And then what you can do is break down, okay, what are the steps I need to take? And then slot them into your calendar and be regimented. Be regimented. It doesn't pay to be on everyone else's timeline. When you get invited here, when they want to plan this, they've got a dinner here. You know, it's always someone's birthday. Everyone wants to do shit all the time. No one can just sit bored and plan their life out anymore. So what you're going to have to do as well is learn to prioritize yourself. Stick those things in the calendar and be ironclad. Hold your guns. Stay on that path. Because this is how you become someone who believes in themselves and trusts himself. I believe in myself and I trust myself because I do what I say I'm going to do. It wasn't long ago, I think it was like 10 days ago, I decided to do a YouTube channel. All of a sudden I'm pumping out videos, I'm now in a public space. This would have terrified me not too long ago, but I just have such a clear vision of who I want to become and what it's going to take to get there, that all of that noise, that excess, the thoughts, the bullshit, it all drifts to the side because you have a clear purpose and a lane. And I see nothing wrong with it. I truly believe in myself and I know it's going to help others in the long run. So sometimes that's what you need to do. You need to put yourself in these uncomfortable situations. And that's something I've done intentionally, whether it was acting, whether it was boxing, fighting. The reason I got into the boxing is the same reason I got into the acting. It was at the same time. I left high school, I was doing a little bit of uni, and I was sitting in these lectures and I was just realizing this is all bullshit. My business instructor, look, nothing against him, but Indians, Pakistani people who have never run a business in their life, and I could not understand a word of what they're saying. And I was looking around, we were learning about logos and slogans and shit, and I was like, this is fucked. This is such a waste of my time. So I actually ended up dropping out, and I mentioned the idea to my mum, and she was like, no, you're not dropping out. Don't be silly. And so I did end up dropping out, and what I'd do is I'd actually leave the house and go to uni and just work on my business, which was my drop shipping business at the time. Story for another day. But I was just very clear on the person I wanted to become, and I still am to this day. Now, it's been a long road, and you do just need to try shit, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. You need to try more. Like, just shoot that gun. Something's got to hit. I see a lot of people, what's holding them back is starting. They're overthinking that early process of not knowing what to do, so they end up doing nothing. Don't let starting stop you. Starting stops most people because they overthink it. They want everything to be perfect. You know, they really just overanalyze, and it puts them out of whatever it is that they wanted to start in the first place. So that's a tip that I would say, is to not overanalyze things and accept the fact that you are going to be shit. In the early days, you are going to suck. It's not going to be pretty. Things are going to go wrong. And I think once you accept that, it's very freeing. Like, I've only done, I can't remember at this point, but five, 6 YouTube videos. So nothing too crazy, but I've accepted, look, it's the early days. I'm going to be shit. The editing's going to be rough. Like, you saw the last one. It sounds like I was in a hurricane. Like, you could barely hear that shit. But then we adapt, we improve. This is a prime example. Look at this. I would never thought I would be the person that would do a fucking mic and a stand in an area like this, but you just get it done. And you adapt video on video, like whatever it is. You need to just start, be shit at it, and adapt. Just find the areas that need improving, and then just snap on that. And just keep pivoting and adapting. How are you not gonna win with that mentality? With that calendar system of knowing what you should be doing, and then constantly revising and adapting those topics that you're focusing on. Tell me how that person doesn't succeed. And on a long enough time frame, how is that not going to pay off? As a man, it's really quite simple. All you need is discipline and patience. You need the discipline to focus on the tasks, do the things that aren't exciting, that aren't pretty, the mundane, the day-to-day tasks that move the needle forward. And you need to be patient. Now, a lot of people get this confused. Patience doesn't mean sitting on your ass and going, yeah, look, now we know that as men, we have the benefit of improving year on year, and our glory years are going to be 30 to 35. We all know this now. That's common knowledge. However, this gives people a false sense of hope that they can just fuck around and do nothing in their 20s because everything's on the up and up in the 30s. No, you do need to put that work in day to day. And the 30s are only your glory years if your 20s really are a bit of a struggle. You know, I'll happily spend my 20s in pursuit of better to be that geezer in the 30s and just fucking live it up. Live it up. You know, you're getting all the experiences, you're traveling the world, you're meeting the people you want to meet. I know exactly who I want to become, and I'm willing to devote this time in my 20s to become that person. For example, this is I think I said it was a Sunday earlier on. It's actually a Saturday. I fucked up. My bad. But it's a Saturday, and there's nothing I'd like more than hit the gym in the morning, which I've done, and then pursue a dream, you know? Something like this, when you're looking into business, you're looking into socials, that is how I like to spend my time. And the beauty of something like this is a YouTube video is that you actually can expand your network. So I'll get to meet people. I've already got accountants reaching out to me saying, hey, look, I specialize in XYZ. If you ever need me to look after your books, just let me know. So I've already seen like the crazy network and connections that you can build off the back of building a brand. Like, it's just so night and day to me that I don't see any other choice. And that's why I'm so happy to sit here and do this, because the pain of staying the same is a lot worse than the pain of changing to me. Like, the fact that I can just sit here and someone could walk in any moment, but I've just got to sit here balls of steel and just commit to this. You know, you make yourself proud in the process of doing things like that. You can really sit down at the end of the day and go, I'm proud of you, man. Like, we did something there. We've evolved as an individual. And it's same, funny analogy you guys will relate to is when it comes to the women and you're asking out a woman on a date. I remember in the early days, for me, I didn't care if I got rejected or not. Even if I went up and spoke to a girl and she's like, oh, you know what, I've got a boyfriend, I'm busy, whatever, maybe another time. I'd walk away from that like, yay! Like, I'd just be buzzing the fact that I had the balls and pulled it off regardless of outcome. Because to be honest, look, you don't know the chick. Like, it's not like you've lost anything. You're basically cold calling at that point and testing the waters. You haven't lost anything. You've only gained that experience. You're one no away from a yes. So it's either win or learn. Simply win or learn. And I actually had a little bit of an argument today with someone in the comments, and they were going on about how it's a very fine line between not celebrating your achievements and acknowledging those small wins along the way, you know, in order to stay hungry to win. I remember recently my Instagram got banned. Zuckerberg stitched me up a little bit there. So I had to start everything from scratch, everything from absolute scratch from the bottom. Now that was I had a choice there. I could stay like, look, I had a crack at this, got banned, starting from zero. It's not worked out. But instead I decided to put the foot down. So we started small. And in those early days when you've got like 80 followers, 100 followers, you need to get excited when you get one more through the door. Those little wins, you do need to celebrate those, I'll admit. But then staying hungry. Celebrate the small wins, but you stay hungry by setting those long-term goals and setting those monthly targets, the quarterly targets, the yearly targets. That is how you stay hungry and you stay disciplined. Ask yourself this, do you have your goals written down? Do you have a monthly goal? Do you have a quarterly goal? Do you have a 6-month goal and a yearly goal? Because when you put the time constraints, shit gets done. If you give yourself a week to clean your room, it'll take you a week. If you give yourself a day, it'll take a day. Now, it's not that simple when it comes to goals, but it does work in the same way. You can't hit a target that, how does the saying go? It's something like you can't shoot a target that you can't see, or you can't shoot a target that you haven't set up. And that makes sense. You're not gonna stumble across it and flick it and bullseye. You need to see the target, have the target written down, and then shoot at that motherfucker every day till you hit it. That's how it works. You only need some discipline and some patience. The discipline to focus on the skill, focus on the task at hand, get good at it, and the patience to stick it out through that period where you're suffering, where you're not good at the skill. It's not paying you back. It's just that real monotonous day-to-day grind. But you got to acknowledge that a lot of life is that. A lot of life is just a string of Tuesdays strung together. It's not Saturdays and Sundays or Friday nights. That's not life. Life is a string of Tuesday afternoons. So structure your life that your Tuesday afternoon is better than most people's Fridays and Saturdays.